This is Debbie Lynn Toomey, Tufts Medical Center's Injury Prevention Coordinator. And today is the topic for today is Tai Chi. Did you know that Tai Chi has been called meditation in motion? And there's many different forms of Tai Chi out there. I believe there are 5 primary styles. But because it's been such a research proven practice, it's been used in fall prevention. And so we have Maria Tumang from Brigham and Women, who is basically my counterpart. She's the injury prevention coordinator there. She'll talk about Tai Chi for fall prevention and also do a demonstration for us on how we could experience how to do Tai Chi. So Maria, welcome.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Maria Tumang. I'm the Injury Prevention Coordinator at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Happy to be here today to show you some Tai Chi. One of the programs that I actually I'm doing right now in the community is Tai Chi for fall prevention. We found that it's a very effective program. It was developed many years ago, and it's widely used worldwide as well as nationwide. So it's not a new form of Tai Chi. It actually used to be called Tai Chi for arthritis. And then now they've also made it a Tai Chi for fall prevention because it was so effective for fall prevention. It is specifically, as Debbie said, there are many forms of Tai Chi. This is a specific one called Tai Chi for fall prevention. It was developed specifically for arthritis and fall prevention. So why Tai Chi? Tai Chi in general as a form of exercise is low impact to no impact. So it's gentle on the joints. And this is particularly important for those of us who have joint issues, me too included. It can improve both upper and lower strength, as well as strengthen the core muscles. It improves balance. There are a lot of movements where we're shifting our weight from one foot to one leg to the other and having to support the whole body on one leg. So there's a lot of balance portions of the exercises. It also improves cognitive ability. That's coming from the fact that with this form of Tai Chi, you have to learn it because there are different forms and they build on each other. They improves the brain function. And a lot of that because we have to remember the forms from the beginning to the end, and because we're building onto what the first form and then the next form and so on. It also improves flexibility, which as we grow older starts to, disappear. So it's really important to have that flexibility to prevent falls. Tai Chi for fall prevention specifically is an evidence-based program. It was developed by Dr. Paul Lam with Tai Chi and medical colleagues from the Tai Chi for Health Institutes. It uses the Sun style of Tai Chi for its ease of use for older adults. Dr. Lam, as an aside, actually had arthritis when he was a teen because of malnutrition. So he developed Tai Chi, a lot of it for arthritis. He himself suffers arthritis. So this is a big help for him as well. So as I mentioned, this program is appropriate for adults with mobility issues that includes arthritis, rheumatic diseases, and musculoskeletal conditions, those with mild, moderate, or severe joint involvement and back pain, and also those with high risk of falling. As a matter of fact, right now, it's actually really great because I have at the moment participants who have different issues, including balance issues. I have someone who has really bad knee pain, and she's doing well. She's participating. Someone else who has issues with her leg and She told me that it's helping. It's definitely helping her out, and she's hoping it helps more. And again, with balance issues, what are the expected health outcomes? Improved balance and mobility, improved strength and flexibility, improved relaxation, and decreased pain and falls. And we'll talk about those as we keep going. So the program is set up as two levels. One is the beginner level, which are the core movements, and the level two is the advanced level. They're extension movements. So a lot of times, the reason is I divided it into two is because we take everything. The program was developed so it can be taught slowly and with precision. And a lot of times we have to follow certain movements specifically, and so that we can follow fidelity in order to achieve our goals. So this is led by a certified instructor. It's 16 weeks, and it can be done twice a week for 8 weeks or once a week for 16 weeks. And each class is scheduled for to be an hour. So the hour is roughly divided into, greetings and questions the first couple of minutes. A lot of times we'll discuss why Tai Chi, what effects we're looking for, what health benefits we can get, and just general questions that participants might have from the last class and, when they practice at home. The warm-up is about 10 to 15 minutes. And, it sounds like a lot, but we do warm up 6 parts of our body. So we start with the neck, and then the shoulders, and then the spine, the hips, the knees, and the ankles. And each one has 2 movements. Each one's repeated 3 times. So it does take time. And then there's a review of the previous lessons and then learn new forms. So that takes up most of the hour. And then there's always a cool down, about a 2 to 3 minute cool down. And then I usually leave time for questions and feedback. Always good to, get what they're thinking. And as I mentioned before, the way the lessons are taught, we leave a lot of time for questions during teaching, and then a lot of demos. So the movements can be done sitting down or standing up. Again, one of the things that I really like about this program, it's very welcoming to pretty much everybody who just wants to try Tai Chi, because you're not limited if you can't, you can't maintain standing up. You can always sit down at any point of the hour and do the exercises with everybody else. So the movements are slow, gentle, and deliberate. One of the main components, or one of the main messages for the class, is stay within your comfort zone. So we do not do anything that goes into pain. So everything can be done according to the individual's comfort level. So being slow, gentle, and deliberate is very easy to say, oh, okay, that's my pain tolerance. That's the threshold. I can stop right there. And then the other thing that's really great about the slow, gentle, and deliberate, it challenges the muscles a lot more than if you're moving your arms or legs, your muscles fast. And I think I have a slide about that in a little bit. It also encourages body awareness. So again, that goes back to being the slow. It makes you think about where you're putting your hands, where you're putting your feet, where you're putting your body, how you're shifting the weight. So instead of just doing it, you're actually thinking about it, and it makes us more aware of body position, especially for falls. And then the other thing is it does encourage slower breathing and relaxation and muscle relaxation. And with all of these combined, it does improve focus. So that's another really great part about it. These are a couple of things that I wanted to show everybody. As you can see, this is a knee warm-up. Can be done both sitting down and standing up. You're still getting the same benefits. The single whip is one of the actual forms for the exercise. Again, as much as this has feet involvement, this can also be done sitting down. And we actually encourage having chairs next to every individual, because that can be used for balance. And I'll show you when we do a little demo. So whenever I teach a class, there's always a chair next to the individual, and at any point they can use it for support, for balancing, for sitting down if you get tired, just to encourage everybody to join in different physical abilities. And that's it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask Debbie.
No, this is great. This is great. I'm looking forward to having you do a demonstration for us. But you know what? I also studied Tai Chi in a different form, and it's really amazing to me how with the practice of Tai Chi, the slow, deliberate movement is so important. And it does lend to the body awareness that you mentioned, because the slower we do the movements, the more we are noticing it's challenging the strength of the muscles, our flexibility, our coordination, the balance. It's, you know, it's another thing if we're taught to just, okay, you know, do the single whip really fast. And, you know, we're so conditioned to like rush. And so in this type of practice, the Tai Chi, you know, slow is good. Slow is good. And that's why, you know, I love the way, you know, some people call it, you know, meditation in motion, because it really is, because you're paying attention to your body, how it's moving and how the form is, and you're always correcting the form. And a long time ago, I heard somebody say that, you know, there's really the practice of Tai Chi is a lifelong practice. There's no such thing as perfection, because the way you present for yourself that day as you're doing the Tai Chi, there could be things going on in your life, but you know, because you're showing up to do the Tai Chi, you know, the practice might be a little bit different than it was the day before, you know, or if you injured yourself and you still want to do Tai Chi, you know, you'll be compensating, maybe sitting down instead of doing your usual stand-up, motion. So it's really amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the best things that I really like about this program. It really encourages everyone with different physical abilities to participate, because of the flexibility about, you know, standing and sitting and holding on. There's always the different variations that you can use. And going back to the slow and deliberate movements, I've actually had participants, and we were just starting. We literally were just learning the warm-ups, and they were like, man, I can feel that. You know, just because you were moving slowly, you're challenging the muscles a lot more. They could actually feel soreness and just warm-ups.
Right.
And the other part is because the movements are constant. You're not actually like putting up and putting down. The movements are constant, so you're actually moving your arms pretty much all the time, albeit slowly. So it's really challenging the muscles a lot more than if you were just, moving it up and down, or doing, push-ups really fast, or anything that type of, the fast exercises. Right. So it lends itself to being really good for the elderly, and, being able to move slowly. And so it's not a deterrent for them. So I'm finding that, hey, it's okay if I move slowly. I actually am encouraged to move slowly. So I really like that portion of it.
Yeah.
So it's like pretty welcoming to, many of the elderly who are in the danger of falls, and, who are now in that particular phase of their lives. So I'm actually really enjoying it too, because a big part of it is the breathing. And because it's slow, you can actually think about breathing. A lot of times we're doing exercises, and myself included, I don't realize that I actually hold my breath. And I actually tell myself, so as we're going through these exercises, I usually will prompt and say, okay, at this point, we're going to breathe in, breathe out. And because it's slow, you actually have the time to breathe,
Yeah,
you know?
I love it.
Yeah, and I'm finding that, oh, I'm really liking this part. And they do encourage the Dantian breathing.
Yeah.
Really
Oh,
like,
Maria, before we go any further, can you come off the screen share so people can see you as you're talking?
so I'm really liking the breathing portion. And it's really, that was one of the best things that I really like about it. It's at every point of the workout, you're always reminded to breathe and breathe in, breathe out. And that is just so like, your muscles actually respond and relaxes. So I really enjoy that part a lot.
I'm glad you mentioned the breathing part because, people don't really see that. It's not very visible or noticeable especially when you see people practicing Tai Chi out in the park. It just they look so graceful. And, because we're watching the movements, we're not really realizing that they're coordinating their breath with some of the movements. And so I'm glad you mentioned that because that in itself, the breathing, slow, deep breathing is enough to help induce the relaxation response in the body, as you know. So that's great. And that does help with the coordination as well. Okay, what I love about the Tai Chi also is not only does it help with coordination and balance, but also helps with cognitive function, right? I believe you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, a lot of times with Tai Chi, you don't just jump in and know what's going on. You do have to learn from the beginning, like with this particular one, for example, the movements flow from one to the other to the other. And you will obviously, when you're learning it, you have to stop in the middle somewhere to learn. But when you do the whole thing, you just go. So you do your warm ups and then and then once you start, the form just keeps going. So because you're doing different things in different portions of time, you do have to remember those. There is muscle memory, but there is also that, okay, now I have to do this with my hands, I have to do this with my legs. And so that's one. So you're learning. And I think that's really important for cognitive ability. You're learning it from, you're doing the basic and then you're building on top of it. You're adding more and more and more. So you're always learning all throughout. And then the other thing is that your whole body is involved. So it's not just your arms doing anything. You have to add there's feet, legs movement, and then there are turns, and then there are head turns. So again, you're learning many things at the same time. The way we teach the program is we break it down into, just learn the arms first, learn the legs, then put them together. So at many points of the program, even the warm-ups, you're always learning something new and you're always putting it together. And that portion of putting it together is always, challenging your brain, is firing up those neurons. So that improves cognitive ability right there. And then, eventually there is muscle memory involved, certainly, but there's a huge portion of, I have to learn this form. I have to put it together with the other one. And then I have to move on to the next one, which involves its own different forms, its own different movements of the arms, movements of the legs, movements of the head. So because of that, there's, definitely a lot of brain firing going on.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I'm excited to have you demonstrate some of the movements. We have time here, so we get to watch you, and hopefully, for those of you out there who wants to practice along, just know your body, know what you cannot do. If you do decide that you want to, practice along with Maria, just again, know your body, don't overdo it, and just know that you could watch the program again if you want to continue practicing the little demonstration that Maria is going to show us. So Maria, let's get started with some of the Tai Chi movements.
Okay, so I'm just going to show a couple of the warm-ups. And then a couple of the forms. So we're not, so a lot of so the warm-ups include, well, this one I can show you with this is the part of the neck warm-up, and I will show it to you closer so that it's a lot easier to see. Ooh, okay. See, my knees are not happy right now. Okay. So this is one of the neck warm-ups, and it's really just, focusing on the neck. And a lot of times I've noticed as I've been teaching this, people move their body along when it's like, and I have to keep reminding, it's just the neck. It's just the neck, And a lot of times when you move your neck, you move your body.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of them. So basically, you're just looking at a mirror. Your hand is a mirror, and other hand is right by your belly button, by your dantian. That's about 3 fingers below your belly button.
Mm-hmm.
It sits right there. And then you just turn and look at the mirror, turn towards the mirror. And here's the challenging part. You shift your hands as you turn to the other side. And we do this 3 times on each side. So that's 2.
And at this point, are you asking them to coordinate their breathing as they're moving their neck? Or
at this point, we're just breathing normally and working on being slow. So a lot of times, because it's a warm-up and you just started, people are still like moving fast. So, so they're going like this. And then this part can be pretty confusing as well. So this is one of those things where we learn, all it is. It's very simple, but once you see, I just saw you turning your shoulders there, Debbie.
It got me.
Yeah. So a lot of this movement, as simple as it looks, it looks harder and harder to remember as you're doing the neck. And again, we don't force a lot of the, extreme neck movements. It's just about 70%. So if you're doing it slowly, it's actually really relaxing. So,
once you get the coordination down, yes.
Yes, exactly. And that's part of that cognitive thing. You
Right.
have to coordinate, So then there's another one that kind of involves that. And this is one of the, and one of the more relaxing warm-ups that I found is just this. It's like gathering up the chi. It's a shoulder warm-up. And this involves that breathing. So you just breathe in. And again, this just encourages that slow movement, and you breathe out.
All right. So, I need to ask you, because some people might ask, what does she mean by chi? What is chi?
Well, it's an energy form that we think about when you're doing Tai Chi. A lot of people, you don't necessarily, and when doing this, you don't have to believe in it. You're gathering up the chi and you're putting it into yourself. And this is the portion where you're putting it in. And this, as easy as it looks, it's actually challenging for people with shoulder issues. I have an impingement on my arm here, and I can actually, there are days when I'm like, oh man, I can't feel that. I can't do that. And this is perfectly fine, because if one arm goes this way and the other arm is lower, that's fine too. You just go with, so that's one of the best things about it. It's individualized. You can do it according to your physical ability.
Right.
And one of the, here's a confusing one, the spine exercise. So there's basically stretching your arm out. One arm goes down, the other one's pushing the ceiling, the other one's pushing the floor. So a lot of times this can be pretty tricky. Again, just involves the, you just envision your spine going up and coming down. And this is again where we go, breathe in, breathe out.
Feel that stretch.
Exactly. So it's really nice. And then again, well, because it's spine, we can we do a lot more of the turns. So just you turn according to following the top hand, and then we're changing the hand, switching hands as you turn the other way.
And what do you mean by Dantian?
Dantian is the breathing style.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that, we talk about it a little bit later, only because it can get, it's a big part of the of this Tai Chi, but it's not the major part of it. So usually I just stick it in there. So that's a spine exercise, a spine warm up. So as you can see, all of that can be done sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this sitting down. One of the knee warm-ups can be done sitting down, which I really like. As I mentioned before, I've had people with balance issues. So you can do sitting down. Okay. And that's a knee warm-up. Can be done sitting down. Or it can be done holding on. So you just go like this. And then another variation, you just do this. For someone who has, issues and can't lift their legs. And for someone who has stronger muscles, you can do this and still be doing the same exercise with everybody else. So we go to the forms. So basically you do your warm up. This is one of the forms that we do. It's called commencement. And as you can see, it flows right into the next exercise. And if you notice, the arms are always moving. As much as the legs have stopped moving now, the arms are still moving. And after a while, as much as this looks really easy and fast, if you're doing it slowly, it takes a little longer. And this is where the cognitive abilities are really challenged, because you have to remember to do the arms, the turns, and the legs.
It looks so graceful.
Thank you. And the beauty with that is, I've done it standing up, and you can do the same thing sitting down. So you just do this. And then there's the weight shift is still there because you're still shifting your weight. So the turns are still present, even though the feet aren't moving. So that's what, that's a really nice part about it, because you're still getting that waist exercise, you're still getting the upper body movements, and still be able to participate in the program.
Wonderful. That's great. So how many programs are you doing right now out in the community?
I'm running 2 at the moment, in Boston, for 16 weeks, once a week for 16 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Sure, the participants really love it.
Yeah, I've had really very cool participants. They're really enjoying it. And as I mentioned before, we were just learning the warm-ups, and they were like, oh my God, I can feel that. Muscles I haven't used before. Because again, it's just once you start moving, you don't stop.
Yeah.
And, so it's really nice. And you're not doing it, you're not moving the same way. You're moving different ways. So you're not, it's not static. So we're just, we're moving different muscles. We're using different muscles.
I can imagine how beneficial Tai Chi is, especially during the colder months. Sometimes people complain of their arthritis or their joints just becoming more stiff or achy during older months. And so the practice of Tai Chi would be like a nice way to warm up the joints, warm up the body. And And what had occurred to me is, while you were practicing, there are some people out there who have fallen. And as you know, we do, you and I have been doing programs on fall prevention. And once a person falls, they're more likely to fall again and again and again. And with each occurrence, there's this lack of confidence in our body's ability to, keep itself up and balanced and coordinated. So it creates this like negative thinking of, okay, I shouldn't get up or I shouldn't walk too far because I might fall, that fear of falling. So as I was watching you, it, just made it clear to me how the practice of Tai Chi, and it's wonderful that you offer it, for 8 weeks, twice a week, or 16 weeks, for 1 week, once a week for 16 weeks, how that actually can give a person's self-confidence back in their ability to move.
Yeah, exactly. And the beauty of it too is like, because you can do like warm-ups at home when you're not in class and just work on the warm-ups. And that in itself will, move your muscles, will move your breathing, will, so you're still, even if it's just warm up, you're still moving around, which is better than nothing. And then again, with the variations, especially since we can both, someone could start sitting down and doing it and then move on to holding on.
Yes.
And then totally letting go.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Because a lot of it, and because we talk through weight shift, like changing weight, and we teach about, putting your heel first and then we're not doing it all in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Actually thinking of every piece of the movement. You're not just you're not just going, okay, we're going to do this. You're actually, first move your weight to one leg, lift up the other leg, put that down, put the toes down, put the weight down, and then finish. Mm-hmm. So by the time you know how to do this, your muscles have already like gotten used to that. Hey, we're going to do this one thing at a time. You're not just flying to it. And a lot of times that's what we do in, normally just as when we're moving around, we just like rush through things and not really think about what we're doing with our feet. And that's how I trip, because I don't really always lift up my feet, Yeah. So it definitely lends itself to progressive learning. And that's really one of the things about this form of Tai Chi is the way it's taught. So it's really, we really encourage step-by-step learning, not just, learn it all at once. So there's a big portion of it that's just the style of teaching the forms is different from a lot of the other forms of exercise.
So if you were to teach this twice a week for 8 weeks, by which week should or do the participants start integrating the whole thing, the whole forms? Is it by week 4 if you were doing an 8-week program? Is it like halfway into the program that the whole form is already taught and then reinforced after that?
Well, no, we actually teach it in one form, and then you learn that. And then once you're comfortable with that, we teach the next form, and then you run from the first form to the next. So it's always, you learn something new, and then we do it from the beginning, or, to the current form that you're learning. So it's always practiced that way. So you learn single whip. And then from that, we're going to go, so say on, where am I now? On day session 4, we learned the commencement. So we learned that. We go back to the beginning and put it all together from the beginning to where we are now. So it's not just, we learn each form separately. We always learn and then put together. And then that way it's easy to see how the movements flow from one to the other.
That's great. So there's that constant reminders or repetition to go back to what was at the beginning of the forms, and then eventually adding on to the new form that is learned that day.
Exactly.
So that
The progressive style, yeah. So it's a developing learn process. So by the end, when after you've learned everything, then we always start from the beginning and you go through and then come back again and go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so can this form of Tai Chi for fall prevention, can this be offered online, remotely?
Yes. So they can both can be offered online and in person. I personally like in person because I like being in person. So, however, yes, it can be done online. It can be offered online. There are obviously limitations. So, you have to have your own device, and we have to be able to see every single person. So if you notice, I had to stand way back here so you can see all of me. And that's the same thing for students. If I teach this online, I have to see the whole person, the whole body, not just half of it. I have to see the whole thing so that I can see that everything is done properly.
Mm-hmm.
All the movements are being done properly. So there's a lot of technical issues on that as well. But the beauty, obviously, of virtual is it can reach a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice.
Right. Yeah. It's just it seems like it might seem easier to do the remote as the instructor, but people don't realize there are other things that needs to be set in place in order for the instructor to know that the class is following or somebody did not fall.
Exactly. And, so a lot of times we would need your exact location. Because if we see that, so-and-so, Mary S. fell, I would need where you live so that I can call and say, oh, so-and-so at this place fell and we need some help.
Yeah.
So there is definitely a lot more involved as far as the virtual is concerned. Just a lot of it is because of safety, for safety issues. While when you're in person, you're all together, it's easier for me to see, whoever's there. And obviously there's also the socialization piece, which is, as really important for fall prevention. It's really, and that's the other part that I really like is having, everybody in one room. You can talk to each other before we start and questions, and you can look at each other. There's always like one of the first parts that we do in the warm up is there's a part where you just walk around and greet everybody, say hello. So there's a big socialization piece that I really like for the in person, which I really don't feel you would get virtually. Unless there are a few of you in one place. So obviously this can also be done with participants all in one place and the instructor on Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The socialization piece.
Yeah, definitely. And, even as the instructor, if you are offering the program in person, you are automatically assessing, looking at, how people are walking as they're checking in, or how they're, do they have an assisted device? Are they holding on to furnitures?
Exactly.
And so as an instructor doing it in person, you already have an idea of that person's activity tolerance or flexibility, coordination, balance, right?
Exactly. And that's exactly a big point, because you're right. As when they're coming in, if they're using a cane, you already have, in your head, you're already like, okay. And then this is actually really great. I'm so glad you brought this up, because yesterday in one of my classes, I actually rearranging chairs and so that they could accommodate the movements and still be comfortable doing it. They're not thinking about, because as you're watching them do something, you're like, oh, someone's gonna, this guy's balance is not as good as I think it should be. So you're like, you can pull a chair and say, here, hold on to it. Or you can rearrange things so that they're safe. and still be able to do the exercise. While virtually, if you're looking at so many different screens, it can be difficult. That can be a difficult thing to do. And then the other thing is then there's that piece of calling, the person saying, "Hey, Joe, you want to hold on to that chair, for balance," that kind of thing, which for some people is a little embarrassing, or, just the center of attention. So that is the other piece that I really like about in person.
Yeah.
I feel safer. I feel safer for them, and just seeing them. And that's the thing, is then virtually you also don't see the faces. You don't see when someone's like, doing this and they're feeling pain. Because in person you can see that, and then you could just say, okay, you don't have to raise it up that high. You can raise it up as much as you want, So there is a lot that you do lose in virtual.
Right. And in virtual, you need a second instructor to keep an eye on the actual participants, just so that, in case, all of a sudden you see an empty chair where, a person was just sitting, so you need that type of extra pair of eyes to alert the instructor who is busy teaching the class.
Yes, exactly. Plus the instructor is away from the camera. So then, it's even the participants are even smaller. So you do need that second instructor who's constantly just scanning everybody and making sure that everybody's safe.
Now is what I know you offer Tai Chi for fall prevention as the injury prevention coordinator for Brigham Women's. What other programs do you offer?
Right now, I will be starting a program called Bingo Size. It is, and you've heard me talk about this before, Debbie. So basically, it's a game of bingo, and interspersed within the game are exercises, are health questions. It could be nutritional, it could be fall prevention questions. So you're giving information as well as working out. So I'll be starting that November 7th, and I'm doing a hybrid 1-day virtual. It's a 10-week program, and twice a week. So I'm doing a virtual program one day and an in-person the other day. But similar to Tai Chi, you do need, for virtual, you need a second person, a certified person to watch the participants. So I have someone who's going to be, in the room with them, making sure that everybody is safe.
Perfect. Now, so is Bingo Size evidence-based, just like Tai Chi is evidence-based?
Yes, it is. It's actually evidence-based as well. And it's been proven to increase health education, decrease falls, increase awareness of falls, improve cognitive ability. So yes, it's definitely evidence-based, and that comes out of Western Kentucky University. So it has been around for a good many years now, and it's widely used nowadays in nationwide, although it seems to be being used in pockets. Not everybody knows about it. So here in Massachusetts, it's like almost like a new program, but it's been around for a few years now.
Yeah.
And the studies have been done and showing that it is evidence-based, and the beauty of this, two things that I really like about this, there's a high retention rate, and that's been shown that's been proven as well, because it's more fun to do bingo and putting in the exercises. So that part makes it's really nice, because a lot of times one of the problems that we have with a lot of these programs that we run is the adherence and the retention rate. People like towards the middle are like, okay, I'm done now, and drop out. So you don't really get the full benefits of the program if you finish the program.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that attracted me to this Bingo Size, is the high retention rate and the high adherence rate.
Now, if there are senior centers or organizations out there who already offers bingo, what would you say to them as far as, trying to try it out for their group? Because would you say it replaces their bingo game already, or is it something that can actually enhance both bingo and also, health literacy and also fall prevention?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up actually, because it is not a replacement for bingo.
Mm-hmm.
It is more of an add-on. So you still play a regular bingo and then you add that on. As a matter of fact, the creator himself said, no, they're not replacing bingo. You're adding it on as a different program.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it doesn't replace bingo.
Good. Because a lot of older adults, they really look forward to their bingo.
I know. Yeah, and that's one of the attractive things about it, because bingo as a game in itself is fun, with the prizes and everything and the socialization piece.
Yeah.
So that in itself is fun. And then you just add, you get the added benefits of the exercises and the health information.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the caveats about Bingo Size, though, as a program is that because it's licensed, the license is good for one county. So each county has to have a license to run it.
Okay.
So that is one of the things that, we need to keep in mind if, someone wants to try out a program or try it out and offer it.
So for a place such as Quincy, if they want to offer Bingo Size, they just need to find out, is there any organization or groups in Quincy, are they licensed to have Bingo Size? So if there is a group or organization that gives permission to the other groups and organization to also use or have Bingo Size, they don't have to apply for licensing. Okay.
No, the license is good for the county.
Good.
Anyone who, if you already have someone who has the Bingo Size and has the license for it, that license is good for the county. It's like anyone outside the county would have to get their own. Or if there's no one within the county, groups can always get together and chip in for the license and the training.
Yeah.
But so the license is good for 2 years, and then you just have to renew every.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant to add the element of fun, play, engagement, winning, with something that's also important, which is learning about health, nutrition, perhaps, right? And also fall prevention.
Yes, exactly. And I actually ran an introductory session for a group, and it looked like we did it virtually, and they were having fun. They were like, "Oh yeah, we definitely want to do this."
Besides the Tai Chi for fall prevention and Bingo Size, any other programs that you offer out there?
Well, we do have that care collaboration that we collaborate with you, which is more of a fall prevention seminar. Mm-hmm. Always good to have, all the information in one place. And I'm actually looking into trying to establish another, maybe a home modification program. Mm-hmm. Still in the, thinking portion and seeing how I can get on with that one. But so far right now, because my main focus for Brigham is falls. So, doing a lot of the falls right now, and then home modification is kind of a little bit on the rung. So we'll be looking into that. Mm-hmm. We're also doing Stop the Bleed. Mm-hmm. And with the Stepping Strong program. Mm-hmm. And then we're looking at, pedestrian safety. That's also one of the higher reasons why patients come into the emergency department.
Yeah. Same thing with Tufts Medical Center. Our number one, I think the Brigham Women's and Tufts Medical Center, we share basically the top three, what we call mechanisms of injury, right? It's reasons why people end up in the trauma department. And number one is fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unintentional fall. And then motor vehicle crashes. And then for us, it's stabbing or assaults.
Yes, violence.
Yeah. penetrating. Yeah.
Different forms of violence. Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah, we share the same mechanisms of injury.
Yeah. And that's why, as an injury prevention coordinator, and so I work in a level 1 trauma center, just like you work in a level 1 trauma center. And that basically, what that translates to is that the hospitals that we work in have the staffing and the system in place to be able to take care of somebody who, the community hospitals who are not level 1, maybe level 4 or level 3 or maybe level 2. They don't have the systems in place, the surgeons in place to be able to take care of that person. So they would get transferred to either your facility, my facility, or other level 1 trauma centers in Boston, which there are a lot.
Right. Yeah, because we can offer services depending on the needs.
Yeah.
The patient. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important for people in our role as injury prevention coordinators to really have and offer programs that addresses the top 3 mechanisms of injury.
Correct.
That's why I do a lot of my programs around fall prevention, and so do you. But then, there's other mechanisms of injury that we have to address as well. So that's where the Stop the Bleed comes in. And
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. So, Maria, going back to Tai Chi for fall prevention, is there another form that you can demonstrate for us? We have, about 5-6 minutes left. Are there other forms that you might want to share with us so that way people get a better idea of what else they could do, sitting or standing?
Well, I can show you other warm-up exercises, which really sets up the forms. And even the warm-ups on its own is really good. So as we did the neck, which is like this. So that's done 3 times on each side. And then the other neck this is really quite relaxing too. I'm going to show it from the side because it's easier to see. And it's very, very subtle. You actually don't think, why is it for the neck? So it's quite, I'm going to show it this way. So if you notice, it's actually really, so the neck movement is very, the neck goes back a little bit. So that's the second neck exercise. I show you some of the shoulder exercises. Fine. The hip exercise, this again can be done sitting down or standing up. So one of the hip exercises is like this. And if you actually do it, I can feel it on my hip right now. And so you're feeling it right here, and the arms are still moving. So the shoulders are still warmed up. And I have that impingement right here. So I'm having a hard time doing this right now because of this lift. Okay. But this obviously is not a big deal. And then again, sitting down, you could just do, and then if you don't have to shift you don't have to put the feet in, or you can, but you're also shifting weight. If you notice, I'm just shifting my weight, or I'm just shifting my weight this way. So that's one. And then, and these by themselves, the warm-ups by themselves are definitely something that even if you just do just the warm-ups, they're pretty good. We're repeating it 3 times on each side. The next one, another hip exercise is, again, this is easy. But if you notice, you're also working out the arms. As much as this is a hip exercises, there is arm involvement, this is leg involvement, and this leg is holding all the weight. So you're really working on balance as well. because this leg is loose. This leg is not. So right now, all of my balance is provided with this leg. So the beauty of this is then you could just hold on and just do one arm. If you feel like your balance is in, you're not really feeling. And again, you can do it sitting down. And then knee exercises, again, they also work on your balance. So from the beginning, we're already working on flexibility, on balance, and muscle strength. And a lot of the, as you know, falls, balance and leg muscle strength are really, really critical. So we're already working on that, even just in the warm-ups.
Mm-hmm.
So there is the knee. One of the knee exercises is this. Again, all my weight is on this side, and I'm moving this around. So I'm really balancing because I'm moving my leg. And then now this adds balance as well. So that helps. And then once you start, shifting weight from one leg to the other, you're really challenging that balance. And as much as, wow, that was really easy. You do it 3 times on each side. Eventually, the legs do get tired. So there's definitely a lot of, okay, I'm going to transfer my weight now. And thinking about that. And then another knee exercise is, so there's the stepping forward, changing, and then the weight. Mm-hmm. So again, it involves putting the weight in one leg. One foot moves forward, and now you're putting weight on the front leg. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it looks like they're dancing. You're teaching us dance steps. That's what it looks like. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this one I like. This is easy. And as easy as it looks, again, all the weight is on this leg. Mm-hmm. So we're stretching out the ankle, but this leg is working because it's holding all of the weight. Mm-hmm. And it's, it's like, oh, that's an easy peasy. Mm-hmm. But you're not realizing that this leg is actually working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So, as I said, from the beginning, you're already working on those leg muscles.
Yeah. Well, I could really see how, as you just mentioned, from the beginning, you're starting to integrate the whole body, it, coordinating it, making sure it's balanced, it's secure, and all these different subtle movements that actually do have a positive impact on the body. So, we're at the top of the hour, Maria. So you covered so much, and I really enjoyed your demonstration and you talking about the Tai Chi for fall prevention. So I want to thank you so much for being on the program. And if people have any questions about, your program, Tai Chi for Fall Prevention or Bingo Size, how can people get in touch with you?
That's my contact information right here.
Great.
So Maria Tumang at Brigham and Women's Hospital. So my email is mtumang@bwh.harvard.edu.
Great. Well, I want to thank the Quincy's Public Health Department for continuing to sponsor this program, Health Links, Aging Strong, and I invite everybody to join me again next time and to learn more information and resources that can empower your life. So until then, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Debbie, for having me on the program. Really appreciate it.